Hey everybody, it's Brooke with The Buttered Home and welcome to my messy kitchen. Today we have a warm and fuzzy, wonderful treat to share with you. Today we'll be sharing all the secrets of our recipe for our chicken, bacon, and corn chowder. You do not want to miss this one, so stay tuned. Okay, so we have done a couple of things ahead of time just to speed things up, and we have cooked our bacon and our chicken. I like to use my little grill pan, and I reserve the bacon grease from the cooking of the bacon, and I set that aside to drain and cool, then I chop it. And then we have a pound of chicken breast here that I have seasoned with southern flavor and cooked in my grill pan, and I've let it cool and rest, and I have chopped it too. So we'll set that to the side. Now I have 2 tablespoons of that reserved bacon grease and 3 tablespoons of butter. And I'm melting that in my enamel cast iron soup pot. But now you can use a large 4 to 6 quart soup pot of your choosing. It really doesn't matter. At least it's just going to make a lot of soup. So you want to make sure that you have a bigger vessel. Now once that gets good and melted, we are going to add in a 1/4 cup of chopped onion. I'm using red because that's what I have, and 2, I like for this soup to be a little spicy, and red onion is, to me, the spiciest. So we're adding that in, and we will just cook that down until those onions are nice and translucent. Now I've got my heat set at medium to high just to kind of speed things along, but you can do this at home over medium heat and it'll work just fine. Now in order to help that come to get a little more translucent, we're going to add just about a teaspoon of salt and about a 1/2 teaspoon of pepper to cook that flavor in the butter and the bacon grease. And that salt will help those onions soften a little faster. Now if you've seen my video on how to make a white roux, this kind of uses those same principles. The roux is the thickening agent that most soups and stews in the South start with. Just about all my soups start with it. It's equal parts of fat and flour is all it is, and you season it according to your preference. And that's what we're doing here, and I have added in onions to the mix to help flavor my roux, because the roux will not only thicken the soup, but it will season and flavor it as well. And truth be known, mine is a little more than equal parts of fat and flour, just simply because in this recipe I have used 3 tablespoons of butter and about 1.5 to 2 tablespoons of bacon fat, and I'm going to add in just about 3 tablespoons of plain all-purpose flour. So my roux won't form a ball, it'll just be kind of a thin paste, which is fine. You can go as like what I like to call a thick ball if you're adding things in quickly, but this is kind of a slow steeped soup. So I like the paste because it won't burn as fast. And I'll try to link that video in the comments. But if you wanted, you could just go to my website at thebutteredhome.com and search for white roux. There's a few search boxes on the website, so it's pretty easy to find, and we have a good helpful video on that there. Okay, so my onions have cooked down good enough because they're going to cook a little bit more. And then I'm going to add in my 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour and get that moving around, and you'll see pretty quickly that that flour just melts into that butter and bacon grease. Now this is important. You want to keep this moving at all times because that will burn. So I have lowered my heat down to medium, and we're just going to keep that moving for a minute or so until it no longer smells like flour. So when I put the flour in, I could smell the flour, and we'll just cook it until we start to smell the butter and the onions again, which won't take long. I love this soup because you can use frozen vegetables, you can use canned vegetables, or you can use fresh vegetables. The cook time is the same on all of them. I am using what I have on hand, which is always a cook's best tool. Don't go out and get anything special. So now that I start to smell the onions here, that flour has cooked off and kind of become one with the onions. So now I'm going to add in a whole can of whole kernel corn, not creamed, but undrained, because we want that liquid from that canned corn. That helps accentuate the flavor. And then I'm also adding in a can of mixed vegetables. I like using these seasoned triple succotash because it has beans and tomatoes and things like that in it, so I don't have to add in tomato or tomato paste. And it's undrained as well. Now I can already tell that that roux has got things thickening. So now I'm going to go ahead and add in my 2 cups of water because it will just continue to thicken. We'll stir that water in and get things moving along. And if you do opt to use frozen or canned vegetables like I've done, just make sure that you check your ingredients. You know, the process by which those things are made and canned and whatnot, it matters. Check your sodium levels and always opt for the healthier choice. Sometimes canned items can be full of all kind of things, so we just want to be careful, and the more you know, it takes literally like 3 seconds to just read a label. All right, so now we're going to add in 2 cups of chicken broth and give that a stir. And I've bumped my heat back up to medium high. And we're going to whisk that in. And you'll start to feel it pretty fast. It's going to start to thicken. We just added 4 cups or more of liquid to this guy. And just literally that 4.5 or 3:5 ratio on the fat to flour has thickened over 4 quarts. Listen to me, 4 cups of this liquid in less than 5 minutes. All right, so now we're gonna start the simmer and the process of getting all that flavor. And you see, I like using the southern flavor whenever I cook the chicken because it kind of gets in there really nice and really good. And then we're gonna add our bacon in as well. And just get those stirred in. And the great thing about this is if you didn't want to cook the chicken, you could use a rotisserie chicken. You could use leftover chicken from another dish as long as it's seasoned, or you season it as you go when you put it in. Then you've got an opportunity to take something that you already had and make it new. All right, now we are going to add in our 2 cups of milk, and I'm going to lower my heat back down to medium high because I don't want to scald the milk. And we're going to add it slowly. Now I have let this sit out to room temperature, but if you add it in and it's cold, make sure you add it a lot slower than I did. This combined with that roux base will really, really, really help thicken it and turn it into that creamy consistency that you're looking for. Now we'll just bring this to a boil, then I'll lower the heat to simmer and cover it with my lid, leaving it slightly offset, and we'll let it simmer and continue to cook for 15 to 20 minutes. Then we will be back to show you the finished product. But before I go, I want mine a little spicy, so I'm gonna add in just a touch of something else. I'm gonna add in some red pepper flakes. Not many, just a few. That is optional as well, if you want yours to have a little kick. Get creative here. This is a good base soup. Like most of our other recipes, we want you to take it and make it your own. All right, we'll be back as soon as it's time to eat. Y'all stay with us. One thing that I forgot to mention was that when I added in the salt and pepper to the roux base, I also added in garlic powder. I just did it off camera, but I did want you to know that we added in probably about a ½ teaspoon of garlic powder, but you can also do that to your taste as well. Sorry about that. Okay, so we have finished our simmer time, and my house, it smells amazing. So this is the perfect warm and fuzzy, fill you up, make you feel good recipe. Let's give it a taste. That soup broth or chowder broth is amazing. It's luxurious, it's silky, it's smooth, it's flavorful, but not overpowering. The seasoning that we used on our chicken, perfection. Whether that's a rotisserie chicken or some chicken you made yourself, it really does not matter. This recipe is perfect. You can whip it up on a cool night, or like tonight, a rainy night, and it ends up being a good soul-warming recipe. We hope that you will try this and love it as much as we do. The recipe, like all of our others, can be found over at thebutteredhome.com with a free printable recipe card. So make sure you head over there and download that so that you can make this delicious soup for your family too. As usual, make sure you're following us on all of our social channels. We have a really good time and we want you with us wherever we are. And as always, if you want all of our videos in one convenient place, head over to YouTube, search for The Buttered Home, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and ding the bell so that you can be notified when we drop new videos like this one. Big D and I have lots of warm, fuzzy soup to eat, so I'm not going to keep you any longer. As usual, from The Buttered Home to your home, I sure love y'all. Bye.